I did not cry when I found out. I did not scream. I did not throw things, break plates, or beg for an explanation. Because by the time the truth reached me, they had already been betraying me for 3 years. My husband and my own sister. But what they did not know was that I had already started watching them. For 20 years, I built a life from the ground up. Not just a marriage, a home, a business, a future for my children. I was the one who carried the weight when things got heavy, the one who stayed late, solved problems, fixed mistakes, and kept everything from falling apart. People thought Johnson was the strong one. They were wrong. Johnson only looked strong because I made room for him to stand tall. And Vivian, my younger sister, was the one person I thought I could always trust. I helped her when she was broke. I let her into my home. I defended her when other people called her selfish. I protected her like family protects family. I had no idea I was protecting the person who would help destroy me. The day everything broke started in my office. Johnson walked in like he had rehearsed the moment in the car. His tie was loose, his jaw was tight, his voice was calm in the way people are calm when they have already decided to hurt you. He said, "We need to talk." Then he looked me in the eye and said the words that split my life in two. "I'm leaving you." I stared at him, waiting for the joke. There wasn't one. He said he had been unhappy for a long time. He said he had fallen in love with someone else. And then he said her name. Vivian. My sister. For a second, I thought my mind had misheard him, but it had not. He repeated it like it was normal, like it was reasonable, like he was asking for a change in dinner plans and not confessing to the worst kind of betrayal. 3 years, he said. 3 years of lying, 3 years of secret meetings, 3 years of watching me build a life while they tore it apart behind my back. I should have broken right there. That is what they expected. Tears, shouting, a scene. But I am not the kind of woman who collapses in public. I sat there and listened. And while he talked, something inside me went very still. Not numb, not helpless, focused. Because once the shock wore off, I began to see the shape of it. The late nights, the unexplained phone calls, the sudden work trips, the way Vivian had started showing up more often, the way Johnson had become distant but strangely careful around me. It was not random. It was a pattern, and patterns can be studied. Vivian arrived at the house the same evening. Of course she did. She came through the front door with that practiced, soft voice and fake tears, like she had practiced the role in the mirror. "I never wanted this to happen," she said, reaching for my hands. I stepped back. She looked hurt for half a second. Then the expression disappeared. That was the moment I knew the woman standing in front of me was not sorry. She was relieved. Relieved the truth was out. Relieved she no longer had to pretend. Relieved she thought she had won. I looked at her and realized something even worse than the affair. They had not just betrayed me. They had been planning something deeper, something bigger. So I did the one thing they never expected. I stayed calm. I stayed polite. I stayed in the house. I acted like a woman trying to hold her life together. And while they relaxed, I started collecting everything. Messages, bank records, old login activity, password hints, receipts, appointments. Every tiny detail they thought was invisible became useful to me. Because people who lie for long enough always get careless, and careless people leave doors open. The affair was bad, but it was not the worst part. The worst part was what I found next. Johnson had been moving money, not a little, a lot. Money tied to my firm, money tied to contracts I'd worked on for years, money that should have gone into our future, our children's security, and the business I had built with my own hands. He had been diverting funds into a secret plan, a plan with a name, Project Phoenix. It sounded powerful. It was not. It was just theft dressed up like ambition, and Vivian was part of it. She wasn't only sleeping with my husband, she was helping him hide things, helping him cover his tracks, helping him build a second life on top of the one I had paid for. That was the moment anger finally came. Not messy anger, not screaming anger, clear anger, the kind that sharpens your mind instead of clouding it. If you're still watching this far, subscribe to the Silent Dawn Theater, because this is where the story stops being about betrayal and starts becoming about consequences. I called Sloane, the best lawyer I knew, the kind of woman who did not waste words and did not lose cases. She listened to everything I had. Then she said something I will never forget. Do nothing loud yet. Let them think they are winning. That became my strategy. I let Johnson think I was broken. I let Vivian think I was too stunned to fight. I let both of them keep talking, keep smiling, keep underestimating me. And while they were busy celebrating their secret little victory, I kept digging. The more I found, the worse it got. They were not just cheating, they were trying to strip me of my business, my assets, and my reputation. They wanted me emotional, distracted, and too ashamed to fight back. They wanted me small, quiet, defeated. They had no idea they were trying that on the wrong woman. The one thing Johnson forgot was that my children were not blind. Leo noticed the account activity first. Maya noticed the strange appointments. They saw more than either of us realized. One night, they came into my office with a laptop and faces that looked far too old for their age. They had found the trail, the hidden calendar entries, the stored files, the transfer notes, the false signatures, everything. I looked at them and realized I was not standing alone. My children had seen the cracks long before I admitted the building was unstable. They were angry. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly angry. The dangerous kind. The kind that waits. By then, I had everything I needed. The accounts, the records, the digital trail, the proof that Johnson had been feeding my work into his secret shell company, the proof that Vivian had helped, the proof that they had both been building a life out of my labor while smiling in my face. So I gave them one last chance to expose themselves. I acted even softer, even more broken, even more forgiving. I let them believe I was too hurt to notice what was happening. That was the mistake they made. Because the softer I became, the sloppier they got. And the sloppier they got, the easier they became to destroy. The night of the gala was perfect. Johnson loved public attention. He loved being seen. He loved compliments from important people. Vivian loved being admired. That night, they both arrived dressed like they had already won. Johnson stood in the center of the room, wearing that fake confidence men wear when they think nobody can touch them. Vivian floated beside him like she belonged there, like she had not spent 3 years helping ruin another woman's life. I stood across the room in black, calm and silent, waiting. Then the envelope arrived, served in front of everyone. Johnson's smile died first. Then his face changed when he realized what was inside. The divorce filing, the asset freeze, the corporate theft claim, the forensic records, the proof. Vivian's hand shook so badly her phone nearly fell. People around them stopped talking. The whole room shifted. Johnson tried to laugh it off. He tried to act shocked. He tried to turn it into a misunderstanding. But the room was too quiet, and quiet rooms are terrible places for liars. I looked at him and said, "You should read the second page." He did, and all the color drained from his face. By the time we reached the conference room later, the truth was already finished. Sloan laid everything out: the stolen contracts, the secret transfers, the shell company, the hidden payments, the false signatures, the money he moved, the deals he stole, the life he tried to build with my name still attached to it. Johnson tried to speak. He said he was protecting the family. He said he was trying to build a future. He said I was too cold, too focused, too difficult. That was when I laughed, not because it was funny, because he still did not understand me. I am not difficult, I told him. I am the reason anything here stood in the first place. Then I told him exactly what was going to happen. The assets would be frozen, the business would be returned, the contracts would be restored, his little empire would be exposed, and if he wanted to avoid criminal charges, he would sign everything. Vivian started crying then. Real crying this time, not the performance, the real thing, because she finally understood the truth. The fantasy was over. The man she helped steal with was not powerful. He was just exposed. If this story showed you anything, it is that silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Subscribe to the Silent Dawn Theater, because the loudest revenge is not anger, it is truth. I did not walk out of that room feeling triumphant. I walked out feeling free. That's the part people don't talk about. Revenge is not always fire and shouting. Sometimes it's paperwork. Sometimes it's proof. Sometimes it's sitting quietly while the people who betrayed you build their own downfall with your help. In the end, Johnson lost everything. Vivian lost the life she thought she had stolen, and I got something better than revenge. I got my name back, my house back, my business back, my peace back. Because when a life is built on lies, it doesn't need to be destroyed. It collapses on its own. And when it did, I was no longer standing underneath it. I was standing above it.